We had literally just stepped foot into our Airbnb in Scotland after more than 10 hours of travel when my then 15-month-old baby started to run a fever. Not long after, my husband started to get a severe earache and headache. I was completely exhausted. I desperately needed to sleep, as did all three of us. I was in this brand new city where I had never been before in my life, where I didn't know anybody, and I suddenly found myself in the position of needing to take care of my husband and son. We consider ourselves pretty seasoned travelers, and we'd actually had quite an uneventful travel day up to that point. But within moments, we found ourselves in a family travel nightmare. So what happened, and what could we have done better? And most importantly, what can you learn from our travel mistakes on your next trip? I'm going to count down the 5 most crucial mistakes that we made that day, while also packing a travel first aid / medical kit that we will be bringing with us on our next big trip in a couple of weeks. This time, we're going to be prepared. And the kit list I'm packing today is 100% doctor approved, as in my sister is a doctor and she signed off on this list. So you can follow along with this video and make your very own DIY medical kit for your baby or toddler and share it with any other parents who will be traveling with their families soon. And at the end of this video, I'll quickly tell you what you should bring for you, what you should pack for yourself, the adults in your medical kit as well. This is going to sound a little bit strange, but I've recently started to use a toiletries bag as our first aid kit bag because it's huge and it has a whole lot of different compartments to keep things organized. It also folds out so I can see everything I have really easily, and it comes with a hook so I can hang it up at our destination. Okay, so let's start from the top. Mistake number 5. Not knowing the emergency phone number for the country we were traveling to. In the US, it's 911, but we hadn't even bothered to look up the emergency number for the UK, which was really stupid of us. In an emergency, obviously, every second is crucial, and this feels even more so when you have a baby in your care. In the end, we didn't need to call the emergency line, thankfully, but we did have the realization that if we had needed to, we wouldn't have been able to, or there would have been a significant delay, simply because of our own ignorance. So don't be like us. Mistake number 4, assuming that your phone data will work wherever it is you're traveling to, or not getting an eSIM. If you don't have data on your phone while you're traveling, your phone is basically a paperweight and will be useless to you until you can reliably connect to secure Wi-Fi at your Airbnb or maybe at your hotel. If all of this is sounding a little bit confusing to you and you are unfamiliar with how to use your phone in other countries, your first step is probably just to call up your phone company and ask them if they have a cheap plan for wherever it is you're traveling to. Slightly more advanced would be to look up an eSIM card, which is basically paying for a SIM card that will work in another country before you leave. And thirdly, what we always do, but what really isn't recommended, and this was our problem during this emergency that we had, is getting a SIM when you arrive in country. Mistake number 3, not booking an Airbnb or a hotel that's located near a hospital, or at least not checking beforehand how to get to the hospital from your hotel or Airbnb before you leave, and mapping out a route for yourselves. Also having a reliable taxi number on hand, or checking if Uber is going to work in the city where you're going to, or some other reliable rideshare service. This might seem like overkill, this might seem dramatic, but trust me, when traveling with a baby or toddler, you should always know where the nearest hospital is and how you're going to get there in case of an emergency. We had no clue. We had traveled a lot with my son before this trip, and we'd never had anything happen to us. We'd been really lucky up until that point. So when my son and husband started to suddenly and quickly fall ill, I was in panic mode trying to look up how to get to the hospital, and that's not how you want to be doing these things. I wish I'd had a printed plan in a folder or a note on my phone that I could have referred to calmly. Luckily, we figured it out and it was okay. We learned really quickly that day that the health system in the UK is incredible, even for visitors. So we were really lucky to see a doctor quickly, and it was all free. Number 2, don't forget to have your child's back home doctor or pediatrician's number on hand just in case you need it. Sometimes it's just nice to get an opinion either over the phone or on Zoom from a professional who already knows your child and knows their medical history and any allergy history that they might have. And mistake number 1, always carry a robust medical / first aid kit with you. You never know what you're going to be able to get or not get at your destination. Labels might not be written in a language that you understand, or may not be in measurements that you understand. You don't want to be misinterpreting the dosages on baby medicine. You might be far from a pharmacy when something happens, or maybe something happens in the middle of the night and all of the pharmacies are closed. Or you're on an airplane and when you need something. We now carry all of these first aid materials and medicines with us in our carry-on so that we have them at all times. In the end, my son and my husband ended up recovering perfectly fine. They probably got some sort of virus in transit. We'll never know exactly what was wrong with them. It did take about 5 or 6 days for them to fully recover, and if we had only been in Scotland for a week, our vacation would have been completely ruined. I can't imagine if our entire vacation had been just seeing the city bus and going to the hospital. If you're traveling soon with your family, don't forget to watch some of the other videos on my channel that will make traveling with your baby or small children so much easier. Happy traveling, and I'll see you next time.